Fury Gaming was the unfortunate pool for the number 4 seed coming into Pool F with 100 Thieves, Midnight, and Sicario. And well, I had a chance to sit down and talk to Demise to see how much passion and fire, no pun intended, this team would be able to bring to the mix in Pool F, and it gave me a little bit more confidence as far as them not maybe only winning one match, but maybe even a second to get through. More on Fury Gaming coming right up. What up, COD fans? Welcome back. IHOLDSHIFT with you guys. We've got Fury Gaming, and again, this is a very tough draw for anybody to be in here. I think 100 Thieves and Midnight in this specific pool were probably the worst combinations that you could have pulled here to get into Pool F. And Fury Gaming, unfortunately, also has to go up against Sicario, a team that 3-0'd them previously at Miami. That should provide some learning experience, you'd think, but again, the learning curve seemed to be pretty steep coming in for Fury Gaming. But again, you never know. So let's take a look at their pool just to give you a reminder. 100 Thieves, Midnight, and Sicario are here. Teddy Rex, Drama, Ramby, Glow Frosty, and Demise is the team. And the good news for this Fury Gaming team is that this is probably one of the more experienced squads when it comes down to just open bracket time as a whole. Of course, you go back to some of the time that some of these players had during the PLQ, but during Fort Worth, during Anaheim, just about every single player played in some fashion, and they all finished top 48. So, hey, there's a lot of experience individually with these guys. They were able to find each other and come together with a pretty solid team. It just comes down to, will we see any expectations of them actually winning matches? Let's take a look at this squad in specific. Again, Teddy Rex, kind of one of the main stars of this roster just by name alone. Him and Ramby did play together on Project 18 during the PLQ. They weren't quite able to qualify, obviously. Demise played on the top 24 Revenge squad, which was actually a lot of the team that would end up getting put together, I believe, became Midnight Esports, if I'm not mistaken. So that's interesting that he was kind of left behind out of that mix. Then going to Fort Worth, Teddy Rex did play with Team War. That was him and Ramby. They finished top 48, but Glow Frosty was on that Cyclone squad that finished third. A top 24 finish for Drama on the Mazer team, and then Forfeit was the top 12 representative for Demise. The only player who played at London was Glow Frosty, and that was when he was with Sage, where he finished top 6. He would stay with Sage and play at Anaheim, where he finished top 16. Now, the other 3 players played independently from one another. Nemesis, Hyperboom, and Rebirth Ashoni were the 3 orgs that represented by Drama, Ramby, and Demise, and each of them finished top 24. Teddy Rex not present. They find each other, they get together, they make this squad, and Fury Gaming able to finish top 12 at Miami with a record of 10-6, which is not the greatest ever. You take a look back at what this team was able to do, it was a very easy ride for them up until they had to play up against Movistar Riders in round 3, which they found a 2-0 against. Seems good. Seems awesome. They would then go up against Vanity, not the same Vanity that's represented here, different Vanity squad. It was a 3-0 versus Vanity to get them qualified for the top 16 slot. They would then lose to Sicario Gaming, like we mentioned, at a 3-0 fashion, where they would then slip down to the losers bracket, and once again, this team would lose to Carnage Gaming at the score of 3-1. So top 12 finish there, and honestly, again, I would have liked to have seen this team get beyond the Carnage Gaming squad. Again, they didn't really play anybody super difficult throughout their entirety of the pool. It's just one of those things that you wish they would have played someone a little bit more difficult, just to give a better look at this squad. They had a pretty easy ride. Movistar Riders was not the same Movistar Riders that it was at Anaheim that plays pretty well. They were pretty much a raffle stomp throughout the entirety of the bracket, and they played Vanity, which is a team that really should not have been that much. Again, they're not very good compared to the other teams they could have played up against. That was the easiest winners round 4 game you could have had, was playing up against Vanity. Actually, it absolutely was the easiest round 4 game that they had. And then they lose 3-0 to Sicario, and then again in the losers bracket, they play up against Carnage, who I would arguably say was probably the weakest team in losers round 8. Yeah, looking at it, yeah, probably. And they lose 3-1. So my hopes aren't super high for Fury Gaming, and coming into approaching this, I wasn't feeling very confident about this squad until I talked to Demise, who was able to share a lot of inside information about the squad, their roster, and what they're looking to do come champs. So take a listen in to this episode of You Have My Attention. Joining me from Fury, I've got Demise, who will be taking us through what the expectations are for the squad. Again, pretty heavily loaded as far as the experience. So you have my attention here, Demise. I want to get your initial reactions on how this team that you have put together here were able to come together, because there's a lot of experience on your squad across multiple titles of Call of Duty in the past. You got Teddy Rex, you got Drama, and of course Ramby and Glowfrosty, and of course yourself. A lot of experience there. So how did you guys kind of come together here late in the series of Black Ops 4?
Well, basically, I was approached initially by the core three of Frosty, Teddy, and Ramby. Teddy and Ramby teamed towards the beginning of the year. They had success at Vegas and into the POQ, so they already had good chemistry there. And it was initially those three and Mike Apox. So they approached me to leave the team I was running with to play with them, and I was interested, so I ran with them. And then Mike Apox later on got a better offer with Mazer.
Yeah.
So there is, you can't really be mad at that. Like I understand that. So after he left, we we decided to approach Drama, and I think he was a good fit for our team. We needed a SOG player, and he ran the Ruin, the Grapple, and that's very hard to come by, especially this late into the season with however many good grapples are left. It was like really slim. So I think we lucked out on getting Drama, and yeah, that's pretty much how we formed.
And you guys came together just previous to Miami, essentially. Like, there wasn't a lot of prep time, because Anaheim, nobody had played together from this squad, essentially, as everyone played for separate teams. So this was a pretty quick turnaround for you guys then, too, right?
Yeah, we actually only had about 4 days of practice leading up to the event, so we felt like the event wasn't very accurate to our potential, and I feel like with a little more practice here in the next 11 days, I think we can make some noise at Champs.
And even in the early parts of that Game Fuel Open Bracket Miami, you guys went pretty much flawless up until you started to run into some powerhouses, mostly including a team that's actually in your pool. Sicario Gaming is going to be there with Midnight Esports and 100 Thieves. I want to get your first take as far as the loss that you guys unfortunately suffered versus Sicario, but what kind of a learning ability that kind of gave you against that squad in specific before we talk about the CWL teams in your group?
I think that series, it was a tough series. I think coming into the day, I don't think we were on our A game. I think we felt a little off in the morning, and it showed. I think every map we played against them, even though it showed it was a 3-0, I thought everyone was winnable. I thought every map was close. Like the hard point, we started to come back towards the end, but we just kind of faltered at one hill. And the S&D, it came down to basically them getting streaks and one specialist, and then the control, it was 2-3. So I think honestly, with a little more practice, I think we could have took some of those maps and extended that series.
So now kind of transitioning to talk about the Pro League teams that are in your guys' group. I think a lot of people would have dreaded getting pulled up with 100 Thieves. Yeah, they finished top 6 at Miami, but a lot of people would have considered that to be kind of a fluke result for them. And then this Midnight Esports team seems to be getting better and better every single time they show up and play. So when it comes to preparing for those two teams in specific, what's kind of the mentality that you guys kind of feel as the 4th seed coming into Pool F?
I mean, honestly, you just have to go in with full confidence. I think if you go into a series thinking you're going to lose, then you already lost the series.
Sure.
So, I mean, regardless, we know how good 100 Thieves and Midnight Esports are. I think something we have an advantage over them on is the map vetoes. And I think they have a lot of VODs that we can do research on, and we can kind of swing the vetoes in our favor because they have no VODs on our team. So I think that's one big factor that we can use to our advantage, and I think we just got to take it one series at a time, man.
It's really the only way to do it, right? It's just really interesting because with this pool in specific, it seems like both Hardpoint and Control are like the two big powerhouse modes for everyone who's involved. Midnight Esports has been really good across their Hardpoint so far since their changes, and Sicario is full of a bunch of loaded players when it comes down to how fast they can play. So when it comes to the speed, just generally speaking, when you've been practicing, you're doing scrims online, when it comes to day number 1 World Championships and that speed that comes out the gate as far as how fast the game is played, are you guys expecting just to come out and be on top of that, or is it kind of more of a we'll adjust and adapt as we go in our first couple of matches and hope that we have the set strategies to kind of be able to counter up against these powerhouse squads?
Well, in terms of respawn, I think just speed alone, we can match any team at the event. I think Teddy and Drama are both very fast players, and they've been like that in every single Call of Duty, not just this Call of Duty. So they're
Sure.
accustomed to that style. And I also think that we're a good matchup for some of these teams because I'm sure you could tell by the names, like we're all very rooted in search and destroy, and I feel like that's a weak point for a lot of these top
I
teams.
agree,
So
100%.
yeah, so I mean, honestly, if they just drop one hard point or even the control, then it can look pretty scary for them if we take that first S&D like we should.
So are you guys kind of going in with the mindset that map 2 is a must-win for you guys in a lot of these series?
I wouldn't say it's a must-win, but the way the vetoes work, you have to think that way because we're gonna be vetoing for the fourth map a hardpoint pick, and the team ahead of us is gonna have the first map pick. So obviously
Sure.
they'll have an advantage, and assuming they're gonna be just as good in respawn, if not better than us, then yeah, we just have to go in thinking that we have to win that map too.
Fair enough. Well, it's been a pleasure following along with a lot of you guys individually through your trail over the last couple of months, and obviously a lot of excitement building for you guys in Fury Gaming going into World Championships. Thank you so much, really, Demise, for hanging out and just giving me some time to kind of pick your brain for a little bit. I'm really excited to see what you guys are able to offer for Pool F.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you for having me on.
You got it. Again, really enlightening to hear from Demise. His spirits are up. Obviously, they're pretty humbled about their experience finishing top 12 and are feeling they definitely have to grind. There's a lot of information and experience gained, I think, from Miami as a whole for this squad, and he actually hits on that very, very nicely. So you have to feel a little bit more confident about Fury, but again, it just comes down to this pool, man. Like, I wish I could give them more favor, but this pool's difficult. 100 Thieves at Midnight are no slouches at all, obviously. And Sicario is one of, I think, the better teams that could have gotten pulled in here. You would have rather, I think, would have had Carnage Gaming get thrown into the mix, or Singularity, or Vanity. Sicario is looking like one of those teams that can absolutely make a dark horse run as an open bracket squad. So my hopes for Fury Gaming might not be super, super high, but I'm hoping that Demise is absolutely right when he came to talking about how this team is going to build up and what their rehearsal schedule is going to look like and what they're focused on going into World Championships, because it seems like that regimen should provide at least some close games, if not potential upsets for him. So best wishes to Fury Gaming. I'm hoping for you guys. My hope's not meant to be super high for them to get out of the pools, but there could be potential for them to get out of the top 32 spot and maybe finish top 24. That's all I got for this one, though. Again, we're digging right on through all these videos. If you're not already subscribed, you're going to need to do that. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You want to ring that bell, too, on the way out to make sure you get notifications of when my videos do pop up. Until the next one, hope you guys keep holding it down. Later, bye-bye.